Something just happened behind the scenes, and the internet is still scrambling to catch up. What began as whispers in private chats and shadowed group messages has now erupted into one of the most shocking, uncomfortable, and chaotic celebrity situations in recent memory. At the center of this storm are Boosie and King Harris, and the events surrounding them are leaving fans, insiders, and even industry professionals stunned. This isn't your typical celebrity gossip that gets scrolled past and forgotten in a few hours. What started quietly, with just a few insiders hinting at a piece of footage that wasn't meant to be public, has exploded into a full-blown situation with layers of tension and intrigue. According to multiple sources, this footage had been circulating privately for weeks. It wasn't viral. It wasn't public. It existed in whispers, caution, and discreet exchanges among people who had insider access. The very fact that it stayed hidden for this long gave it a kind of weight, a power that no ordinary rumor could hold. Then everything changed. Boosie, an individual known for his fearlessness in revealing what others prefer to keep hidden, somehow got access to this footage. But rather than keeping it contained, he made a decision that nobody anticipated. He released it to the public. The moment the footage began spreading, the situation escalated at a pace that took even seasoned observers by surprise. Initially, many dismissed it as fake, a fabricated leak, an AI-generated edit, or just another clout-chasing stunt. But the reactions that followed quickly proved that this was no ordinary online drama. People began panicking. Social media posts disappeared. Accounts went silent. Pages that had previously commented on the situation wiped their content as if it had never existed. Suddenly, everyone realized the gravity of what they were witnessing. And the biggest reaction came from T himself, who insiders claim completely lost control when he became aware of the footage. This was more than anger. It was a full-blown meltdown behind closed doors. Voices were raised, emergency calls were made, and people were warned to stay away. One source described T as visibly shaking, a rare moment of vulnerability from someone usually known for composure, authority, and precision. To understand why this situation escalated so dramatically, we need to go deeper than the footage itself. This didn't start with Boosie, and it certainly didn't start with the leak. What we're witnessing is the culmination of years of tension, observation, and private conflict that has been simmering just beneath the surface. And at the center of this is T. T has long curated an image of discipline, leadership, and control, not just as a rapper, but as a father, a public figure, and the head of a household. His persona is meticulously constructed, a man of principles who runs his life and his family's with structure and authority. Those who have followed him closely know that family is central to everything he does. But as with any carefully maintained public image, even a small crack can be magnified under scrutiny. That crack, according to many observers, has been King Harris. Over the past few years, King hasn't always adhered to the disciplined path his father has preached. On the contrary, his behavior has often contradicted T's philosophy. Viral videos of arguments, public challenges to authority, and moments of erratic behavior have painted a picture of a young man struggling with boundaries and expectations. In the eyes of the internet, King has become unpredictable, chaotic, and impossible to fully anticipate. Every time King made headlines, T would step in, sometimes calmly, sometimes with intensity to manage the narrative. He appeared in live streams, interviews, and public statements to clarify events, defend his son, or frame situations as misunderstood. Yet the internet remained unconvinced. Over time, a pattern emerged. King's viral moments were almost always emotionally charged, chaotic, and difficult to anticipate. And behind the public-facing image, insiders claim, the family dynamic was far from calm. Whispers of arguments, tension, and explosive interactions existed, but were never shared publicly. T's ability to contain these situations was impressive, but even the most skilled control has limits. Enter Boosie. Known for being outspoken and unafraid to reveal uncomfortable truths, Boosie has a reputation for breaking stories others avoid. When he got hold of this footage, it was inevitable that the situation would escalate. The footage itself wasn't just sensational, it acted as a spotlight on long-simmering dynamics within the family. The release made private tension public, forcing both fans and the family to confront realities that had previously been contained. Think about the combination: a father known for strict discipline and careful control, a son whose behavior is unpredictable and publical. Why scrutinized, and an outsider who suddenly exposes private footage that no one was meant to see. It was a combustible mix. Once Boosie released the footage, the reaction was immediate and chaotic. Social media erupted. Fans panicked. The family was forced into rapid damage control behind closed doors. According to insiders, the footage didn't just embarrass. It revealed tension, behavior, and dynamics that had been privately acknowledged but never publicly confirmed. For T, this was personal. Unlike prior controversies or public misunderstandings, this wasn't a matter of misrepresented interviews or misinterpreted performances. It was a direct exposure of family life, a breach of the privacy he had worked so hard to maintain. And King Harris, growing up in the spotlight, has shaped his public perception. Constant scrutiny and the framing of him as the problem child in viral content made him a target for judgment long before this footage surfaced. The leak didn't exist in isolation. It was the culmination of years of observation, clips, and commentary, all converging into a single, explosive moment. Fans and observers who had already formed opinions about King now had new context, which only intensified the reaction. Industry professionals noticed too. Those in music and entertainment, accustomed to navigating celebrity controversies, weighed in discreetly online, emphasizing how delicate family dynamics can be and how quickly private moments can spiral into public crises. Experts recognized that this wasn't merely a viral moment. It was a structural problem in how celebrity families are perceived. One insider explained, "These situations can escalate in minutes. A single piece of footage taken out of context can ruin years of careful management. It's a minefield." T's response was immediate. Multiple accounts suggest he didn't just react, he exploded. Emergency calls were placed, private teams mobilized, and the normally composed figure of T was visibly shaken. This wasn't merely anger, it was fear, frustration, and disbelief all at once. The reaction reflected concerns that went far beyond the footage itself. It was about what it represented, the potential exposure, and the implications for the family's image and safety. Meanwhile, Boosie's decision to release the footage completely altered the dynamics. By turning private content public, he forced everyone, fans, insiders, and the family, into confrontation with realities that had been quietly contained. The footage quickly became evidence, speculation, and conversation all at once. Social media users debated, dissected, and scrutinized every moment, every glance, every subtle gesture captured on video. The story evolved in real time, with each repost, comment, and analysis layering additional context onto an already complex situation. This isn't just about leaked footage. It's about power, control, and perception. T's carefully curated image of authority and stability was challenged. The chaos revealed cracks in the narrative he had built over years, exposed the unpredictability of King Harris, and showcased the willingness of outsiders like Boosie to push boundaries for attention. The combination was explosive, and the fallout continues to this day. The social media reaction has been unprecedented. Posts, memes, speculation, and insider commentary proliferate at a dizzying rate. Fans analyze every detail, expressions, body language, timing, and context, trying to piece together a coherent story from fragments of footage and rumor. The story has become both a conversation about family dynamics and a public spectacle, blending entertainment, concern, and judgment into a single, ongoing narrative. At its core, this story is about more than a leak. It's about a family under pressure, a father whose authority is publicly tested, a son whose behavior has long drawn scrutiny, and an outsider who catalyzed a situation that had been quietly building for years. Every detail, from private footage to social media reactions, adds depth to a story that is still unfolding. The implications extend beyond entertainment. The situation highlights the precarious balance of celebrity life, parental authority, and public perception. It raises questions about privacy, responsibility, and the consequences of exposing moments meant to remain confidential. For T, the challenge is to protect his family while managing public perception. For King, it's about navigating personal growth under intense scrutiny. And for Boosie, it's a demonstration of the power and potential peril of revealing what others prefer to keep hidden. The story isn't over. With each clip, post, and insider comment, the situation continues to evolve. New details emerge daily, adding layers to the narrative and further complicating public understanding. Analysts, fans, and media outlets continue to debate the motivations, implications, and long-term effects of the footage's release. Every reaction, whether from inside RS or fans, contributes to the evolving picture of a family navigating pressure, scrutiny, and exposure. This is not a story to scroll past lightly. It's the culmination of years of tension, observation, and public scrutiny, colliding all at once. The question now is, how will the family respond? How will King Harris navigate the fallout? And what does this mean for T's reputation as both a father and a public figure? What started as whispers in private chats has exploded into a national conversation. At the center are Boosie and King Harris, and the ripple effects are just beginning to show. What seems like chaos on the surface is actually a convergence of years of family tension, celebrity scrutiny, and public exposure. Late last night, multiple insiders confirmed that the footage had been quietly circulating in private circles for weeks, never meant for the public eye. Then, according to sources, Boosie obtained it and made a choice that no one expected. He released it. The results were immediate. The internet went into panic mode, posts disappeared, accounts went silent, and social media pages wiped content to avoid exposure. And sources claim he completely snapped. The meltdown was unprecedented, a combination of anger, fear, and frustration. Emergency calls were made, voices raised, and even those accustomed to his calm precision reported that T was visibly shaken. The situation transcended normal celebrity drama, hitting deeply personal nerves about family, privacy, and control. Speculation now suggests this wasn't just a random leak. Some insiders believe it was an intentional exposure of long-standing issues, something that had been whispered about for years but never verified. If that's true, this is no longer mere gossip. It's a structural revelation that could redefine public perception of King Harris, and the entire family. This is the situation we're watching unfold, a story of family, control, chaos, and exposure. And while we may never know every detail, it's clear that what we are seeing is the result of years of tension finally surfacing. Something just happened behind the scenes, and the internet is still struggling to catch up. What started as quiet whispers in private chats and exclusive group messages has now erupted into one of the most shocking, uncomfortable, and chaotic celebrity situations in recent memory. At the center of this storm are Boosie and King Harris, and the events surrounding them are leaving fans, insiders, and even industry professionals stunned. This isn't your typical celebrity gossip, something you scroll past and forget. This is a story that has been building for years, quietly simmering beneath the surface, and only now has it erupted in full force. According to multiple sources, the footage that sparked all of this had been circulating privately for weeks. It wasn't viral. It wasn't public. It existed only in whispers and discreet exchanges among people with insider access. The very fact that it stayed hidden gave it a kind of weight, a kind of power that no ordinary rumor could ever hold. Then everything changed. Boosie, an individual known for his boldness and willingness to speak out where others remained silent, somehow obtained access to this footage. Instead of keeping it contained, he made a decision that nobody anticipated. He released it publicly. From the moment the footage began circulating, the situation escalated faster than anyone could have imagined. At first, many dismissed it as fake, a fabricated leak, a manipulated clip, an AI-generated deception, or just another clout-chasing stunt. But the reactions that followed quickly proved that this was no ordinary online chaos. Social media users panicked, posts disappeared, accounts went silent, pages that had previously commented on the situation wiped all content as if it had never existed. Suddenly, the scale of the leak became clear, and the biggest reaction came from T himself, who insiders claim completely lost control when he realized what had been released. This wasn't mild frustration. It wasn't an ordinary celebrity grievance. According to sources, T's reaction was a full-blown meltdown behind closed doors. Voices were raised. Emergency calls were made. People were warned to stay out of the situation. One source even described T as visibly shaking, a rare and striking moment from someone usually known for composure, authority, and control. To fully understand how this all unfolded, we need to look deeper than the leak itself, or even Boosie's decision to release it. This has been building for years, and the first piece of that puzzle is T himself. T has long been known for carefully crafting his public image, not just as a rapper, but as a father, a leader, and the head of a household run with discipline and structure. He presents himself as a man of principles, someone who commands respect and maintains control. For anyone who follows him closely, it's clear that Family H has always been at the center of everything he does. But here's the thing, when you build an image this strong, any crack is magnified. And that crack, many observers suggest, has been King Harris. Over the past several years, King hasn't exactly followed the calm, disciplined path his father promoted. On the contrary, his behavior often contradicted T's philosophy entirely. Viral videos of arguments with his parents, public challenges to authority, and clips scrutinized by fans have painted him as unpredictable, chaotic, and difficult to anticipate. King Harris has become one of the most discussed celebrity kids online, often for reasons that cast him as a source of instability and unpredictability. T has always tried to manage the narrative. Every time King went viral, he stepped in, sometimes calmly, sometimes with intensity, but always attempting to control the story. He appeared on live streams, interviews, podcasts, and public appearances defending his son, framing incidents as misunderstood, and attempting to maintain the image of a family under discipline. But the internet wasn't buying it. Observers began noticing a pattern. Every time King went viral, chaos followed, emotion ran high, and unpredictability seemed inevitable. Behind the scenes, the situation was even more complex. According to insiders, things weren't as calm as T's public appearances suggested. Arguments erupted behind closed doors, tension simmered for hours, and moments escalated to loud, explosive confrontations. T was a master at containing these situations, but even the most skilled person can only hold control for so long. Then, Boosie entered the story. Known for being outspoken and unafraid to expose uncomfortable truths, Boosie has built a reputation over the years for revealing what others avoid. When he got involved in this situation, it was inevitable that things would escalate. The footage he released wasn't just scandalous. It shone a spotlight on private family dynamics that had been simmering quietly for years. Suddenly, a situation that had been carefully contained was thrust into public scrutiny, and there was no turning back. People began connecting the dots. Observers noted subtle tensions between T and Boosie over time, offhand comments, small confrontations, and moments of indirect friction. At first, these seemed trivial, just typical celebrity behavior. But now, revisiting older clips, posts, and interviews, a different picture emerges. Those moments may have been warnings, subtle signs of a brewing conflict. The timing of the footage's release only adds to that theory. The timing is critical. Right as King Harris's visibility online was increasing, his behavior drawing more attention and fans starting to question events, this footage surfaced. And it didn't just appear randomly, it landed in the hands of someone like Boosie. That's why some observers suggest it was a calculated move rather than an accident. Some sources close to the situation claim that the footage didn't randomly appear recently. Instead, it had quietly circulated among certain insiders for some time but was never made public. Why? Crossing someone like T has consequences, and for years nobody dared. Then Boosie released it, instantly changing the dynamics. Once footage like this goes public, it cannot be contained, spun, or controlled. For someone like T, whose reputation is built on precision and control, this is the worst possible scenario. Now, imagine King Harris caught in the middle. A young man already under public scrutiny, trying to navigate his identity while constantly judged, suddenly finds himself at the center of one of the most talked about leaks in celebrity culture. According to whispers, he wasn't prepared. The footage surfaced without warning, causing chaos in real time. That explains the extreme reaction behind the scenes. It wasn't just about image. It was about protecting something deeply personal, something that, if exposed incorrectly, could alter public perception of the family entirely. Then came the moment when everything finally exploded. The footage didn't stay private. It began circulating through controlled channels. Sources say it first appeared in an invite-only Telegram group, a space intended for exclusive content. Initially, it was a short video file with no context. People watched, confused. Some assumed it was fake. Some suspected edits. Then someone typed 6 words that changed everything. "Yo, that's King. Look closer." Suddenly, the tone shifted. Observers weren't casual anymore, they were analyzing. Zooming in, replaying, comparing faces, voices, and movements. Within minutes, screenshots began circulating inside the private group. Side-by-side comparisons of King Harris from recent Instagram lives matched against the person in the clip. And then the room went quiet. When people suspect something is fake, they joke, they laugh, they shrug. But when it might be real, the atmosphere changes. Silence. And silence didn't last long. Somehow no one knows exactly how. The video leaked from the Telegram group to a small Discord server, then to a burner Twitter account, and from there it spread like wildfire. Here's where things take an unexpected turn. As the clip gained traction, the original posts started disappearing. Accounts went private, posts were deleted. Content vanished almost instantly, like someone was actively trying to suppress it. If the footage were fake, why panic? Why delete? That's when people began asking the critical question, who's trying to control this? And soon, T's name began circulating heavily. The situation reached a point where multiple layers collided. The father's reputation for control, the son's unpredictable public behavior, and an outsider releasing footage exposing private dynamics. Every element fed into a narrative that was chaotic, intense, and explosive. Fans, insiders, and industry professionals dissected every detail, attempting to understand motives, timing, and implications. Looking at the broader picture, it becomes clear why T's reaction was extreme. He has always valued discipline and structure. He handles conflict with strategy, carefully crafting public perception. This leak wasn't just an embarrassment. It was a direct threat to a carefully maintained image. Losing control of that narrative isn't merely inconvenient, it's destabilizing. And with King Harris in the mix, it amplified the pressure exponentially. King, meanwhile, was at a delicate point in his life. Under constant scrutiny, trying to navigate his identity, he suddenly found himself at the center of a story that could define public perception of him for years. The psychological pressure, fear, and tension were enormous. According to insiders, he wasn't ready, which explains the intensity of the reactions behind the scenes. Once the footage escaped private circles, the dominoes began to fall. It spread, sparked speculation, and ignited a cascade of reactions: panic, denial, chaos, and frantic attempts at control. What started as whispers became one of the most dissected celebrity situations in recent history. Social media users, insiders, and fans all became part of the narrative, analyzing every frame, post, and comment. The unprecedented element of this situation isn't just the leak. It's the collision of private tension, public perception, and calculated exposure. It's a story about control, reputation, and consequences of decisions made behind closed doors. And as it continues to unfold, one thing is clear. This isn't a scandal that will be forgotten quickly. Every clip, every post, every reaction adds another layer to an already complex narrative. Once the footage hit public spaces, everything changed instantly. T, usually calm, calculated, and in control, was reported to have reacted aggressively behind the scenes. Phones rang non-stop. His inner circle was immediately mobilized. Some individuals were allegedly instructed to remove posts or content instantly. Others who had shared the footage were reportedly being tracked. Whether this is true or not remains unconfirmed, but the effect was unmistakable. Within hours, people who had posted the video went silent. No explanations, no statements, just radio silence. And that silence only added fuel to the fire. Boosie, meanwhile, didn't remain quiet. Not subtle hints, not indirect remarks. He went public, loud, and unfiltered, drawing immediate attention. Viral clips of his late-night live stream circulated rapidly, showing him addressing the situation without directly naming names, but the implication was unmistakable. He said things like, "Some of y'all act one way in public, and a whole different way when the cameras ain't supposed to be on." Then, after a pause, he added, "Truth always come out one way or another." That statement alone caused the internet to erupt. People immediately connected the dots. Leaked footage, timing, and now Boosie seemingly hinting he knew more than he was saying. Then came the first major twist. Online threads began blowing up, with speculation intensifying by the hour. Some suggested Boosie didn't just react to the footage. He allegedly had it days before it surfaced publicly. Observers analyzed timestamps, repost patterns, and private message trails, claiming Boosie's prior access suggested this wasn't a random reaction. If true, it was deliberate, coordinated, and possibly personal. Questions followed. Why now? Why release it at this exact moment? Retaliation, or something deeper? The situation escalated further. According to a source close to T's inner circle, when T saw Boosie speaking publicly, he snapped completely, not just frustration, not mild anger, but a full-blown, uncontrolled reaction. Shouting. Objects reportedly thrown. Attempts to calm him down failed. An alleged witness said chillingly, "He kept repeating, he crossed a line. He crossed a line he can't come back from." This wasn't rumor, it was personal. Deeply personal. The footage and Boosie's commentary didn't just inconvenience T, they threatened something fundamental, something long kept private. Hours after Boosie's livestream went viral, cryptic online messages began appearing. Some things ain't meant for the internet. Certain people gonna regret playing with family, respect boundaries, or face consequences. No verified link to T existed, yet the timing was too precise to ignore. Fans immediately speculated. The narrative shifted. It wasn't just leaked footage anymore. It was about family, power, and possible retaliation. Questions arose. Would T respond publicly? Would Boosie double down? What about King Harris? In the middle of all this, King Harris went completely silent. No posts, no stories, no statements, just absence. That silence amplified tension even further. Fans and observers began speculating endlessly. What conversations were happening behind closed doors? What decisions were being made? How much pressure was being exerted on everyone involved? And then another twist emerged. A smaller, previously unseen clip allegedly connected to the situation began circulating in tight, exclusive circles. Not public yet, not viral yet, but enough people saw it to spark whispers of a new layer, something that made the original footage appear to be only the beginning. Insiders warn that if this clip is released publicly, the situation could spiral completely out of control. This chaos didn't remain confined to private circles. Overnight, the story exploded across mainstream social media. TikTok clips with blurred screenshots appeared. Twitter threads dissected every frame. Instagram blogs with millions of followers began dropping hints about a major celebrity family crisis. What was once a private leak had become a full-blown internet phenomenon. And Boosie didn't retreat, he doubled down. Unfiltered, confident, and seemingly reckless, he returned online and reportedly said, "Ain't nobody untouchable. I don't care who you is. Stop acting shocked when the truth finally hit the light." That statement intensified the firestorm. Hashtags trended within minutes. The public split almost immediately. One side condemning Boosie for targeting someone's family, the other defending his exposure of the truth. Social media became a battlefield overnight. Meanwhile, the private tension continued to mount. Calls were being made, content removed. Individuals involved in circulating the footage allegedly warned. King Harris's silence kept the stakes high. Outsiders only had fragments of the story, but insiders reported immense pressure inside the household. At its core, this isn't just leaked footage or a viral moment. It's the collision of long-simmering family tension, public perception, and deliberate exposure. It's a story about control, reputation, and the consequences of decisions made behind closed doors. And as it continues, one thing is certain. This is a moment that will linger in public memory. The internet erupted. A single statement from Boosie had ignited a storm that nobody could have predicted. "Some of y'all be acting one way in public and a whole different way when cameras ain't supposed to be on," he said, his tone calm yet cutting, measured yet unmistakable. Then he paused, smiled briefly, and added, "Truth always come out one way or another." That simple comment sent the online world into chaos. People immediately began connecting dots: the leaked footage, the precise timing of Boosie's statements, and now the subtle implication that he knew far more than he was letting on. Social media users began dissecting every word, replaying the live stream, analyzing his expressions, and reading between lines. The internet moved quickly. Within minutes, threads on Twitter, now X, began to trend, with thousands speculating on what Boosie meant and how it tied to the ongoing leak of private footage. Then came what observers now call the first major twist. Overnight, viral threads emerged claiming Boosie didn't just stumble upon the footage. He allegedly had access to it before it went public. Internet detectives began analyzing timestamps, cross-referencing repost patterns, and tracking private messages. Their theory: Boosie had possession of the clip days in advance. This revelation changed the entire narrative. No longer was this a random reaction to a viral leak. It now appeared deliberate, calculated, and strategic. The stakes had just escalated from speculation to something far more serious: intentional exposure. Questions immediately followed. Why release the footage at this exact moment? Was this personal? Was it retaliation against someone? Or was there a deeper strategy at play, perhaps one that the public wasn't yet aware of? Theories flew fast and furious, with fans, commentators, and insiders each offering their own interpretations. Some suggested personal revenge, others a demonstration of power, and some speculated about a carefully calculated move to shift attention and control the narrative before it could be contained. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, the situation escalated to levels few could have anticipated. According to a source claiming to be close to T's inner circle, the moment T saw Boosie publicly discussing the footage, he snapped, not frustrated, not merely upset, but completely lost control. Shouting, objects reportedly being thrown, people scrambling to calm him down, all signs of an explosive, unfiltered reaction. An alleged witness described the moment chillingly. T repeatedly stated, "He crossed a line. He crossed a line he can't come back from." This wasn't gossip or exaggeration. According to multiple insiders, this was deeply personal. The reaction wasn't about public embarrassment. It was about a violation, a breach of trust, and an exposure that touched something fundamental in T's personal life. Hours after Boosie's livestream went viral, cryptic messages began appearing online, posts that read, "Some things ain't meant for the internet. Certain people gonna regret playing with family. Respect boundaries or face consequences." No verified connection to T could be confirmed. No official account claimed responsibility for these warnings. But the timing was too precise to ignore. The narrative had shifted. This was no longer merely about leaked footage. Now, it was about family, power, and control. The lines between private dynamics and public perception had blurred. Observers began to question, was this a warning, a threat, or merely commentary from someone aware of the consequences? Amid this chaos, King Harris went silent, completely silent. No posts, no stories, no statements. In the midst of one of the most intense public moments of his life, he vanished from social media. That silence in itself became deafening. Fans and observers began analyzing every prior post, every story, every public interaction. Was he overwhelmed, being instructed to remain quiet? Or was there something more strategic at play, a deliberate choice to let the situation unfold without interference? In the absence of words, speculation filled the void. Just when it seemed the situation had reached its peak, another twist emerged. A smaller clip, allegedly connected to the same incident, began circulating in private, exclusive circles. Not yet public, not yet viral, but enough people saw it to start whispering about something far larger than the initial footage. According to insiders, if this clip were to surface publicly, it could transform the narrative entirely, making the original footage appear as merely the tip of the iceberg. And suddenly, the real questions began to multiply. How much footage actually exists? Who has access to it? Why was this released at this particular moment? Was Boosie orchestrating a calculated campaign of exposure? How far would T go to prevent further content from surfacing? Every new development acted like a spark in an already combustible situation, and what started as a viral moment had evolved into a ticking time bomb. Once the story escaped private channels and hit public timelines, there was no containment. Within hours, every major gossip page, reaction channel, and blog was discussing it. Some addressed the footage directly, others dropped subtle hints, prompting fans to investigate further. Twitter, now X, was ablaze with trending topics. Thousands of posts per minute, debates, arguments, and sides being chosen. The pace of information spread was staggering. One viral post captured the tone of a significant portion of the audience. "Y'all really watching a father go through this and still laughing? This ain't entertainment, this is somebody's real life." Tens of thousands of people liked the post. Another read, "If Boosie is telling the truth, nobody should be protected. Truth is truth." Within minutes, the public had split into two distinct camps, one defending T and King Harris, the other emphasizing transparency and accountability. On one side, people defended T and his family, condemning the leak as a violation of privacy and a breach of basic human decency. Comments flooded in. "This is someone's child. Y'all need to chill. Why is this even being shared? This is sick. Boosie went too far." On the other side, there were people who argued that if the footage was real, the truth had to be acknowledged, regardless of celebrity status. The debates were heated, personal, and at times vitriolic. Throughout all of this, King Harris remained silent. His absence from social media became a central point of discussion. Was he overwhelmed? Was he being told to remain quiet? Or did his silence signify something deeper? An acknowledgement of the gravity of the situation, perhaps a silent protest, or even fear. Fans and commentators speculated endlessly. Every day without a post, without a statement, added another layer of tension to the already explosive situation. Mainstream social media soon reflected the same intensity. Every major blog, gossip page, and reaction channel began posting content about the incident. Some covered the footage directly. Others created cryptic, suggestive content that led audiences to connect dots on their own. The conversation spread beyond fans into a broader cultural discussion: privacy versus exposure, family versus accountability, loyalty versus truth. Influencers and celebrities began weighing in, either subtly through cryptic posts or indirectly via subtweets. From Atlanta rappers posting vague warnings to lifestyle influencers commenting on the tension and uncertainty surrounding the situation, the narrative became multi-layered. Then, an industry insider from Atlanta posted online, "What's going on behind the scenes is way bigger than what y'all are seeing online. This ain't just about a video. It's about power, control, and secrets people have been sitting on for years." Whether true or not, the internet embraced this perspective, giving the story a new dimension, one that suggested this leak was just the surface of something much larger and long hidden. What had initially appeared to be a viral video now seemed like part of a years-long story, a carefully built tension between personalities, power structures, and control dynamics. Every new post, each cryptic comment, and every deleted clip became part of an unfolding saga. The public was no longer just observing, they were participants, piecing together timelines, theorizing about motives, and speculating on the next development. Despite the chaos, the silence from the main figures, T, Boosie, and King Harris, only amplified the intensity. Observers were left to interpret actions, non-actions, and omissions, making every subtle move appear significant. Every deleted post became a clue. Every gap in communication became a theory to be dissected. The narrative was living, breathing, and unpredictable, growing with each passing hour. In short, this wasn't just a viral moment. It had become a saga with personal, familial, and reputational consequences. A single leak had escalated into a story of secrecy, power, and loyalty, colliding with the unstoppable force of the internet. Every day, new threads emerged, new clips circulated privately, and speculation intensified. And despite the volume of information available, the truth remained just out of reach, elusive and obscured by layers of narrative and interpretation. The situation's intensity was magnified by the fact that the main figures remained silent. Their absence allowed the public and media to fill in the blanks with assumptions, theories, and in many cases, sensationalism. That silence became a tool of its own, creating suspense, tension, and a sense of unpredictability. For fans, observers, and the media alike, the story felt alive, evolving, and impossible to control. So what does this all mean? Was the leak an accident that spiraled out of control, or a calculated, deliberate act? Did Boosie cross a line that should have remained uncrossed, or was he revealing a truth the public had a right to see? What about T? Does his silence and the intensity of his past behavior reveal the story in full, or is there still a larger narrative hidden behind closed doors? And King Harris, caught at the center, what does his silence truly signify? Protection, fear, or a far deeper strategic choice? There is no middle ground in this scenario. People have chosen sides, and the internet has never been more divided. Every new post, every cryptic comment, every deleted clip adds another layer to the story, and one thing is clear: whatever happens next will change the narrative again, potentially irrevocably. For those following from the beginning, it's apparent this is not just another viral celebrity moment. It is a living, evolving drama, twisting and turning in real time. Each new piece of content, whether a post, a clip, or a cryptic message, reshapes the story, challenges assumptions, and increases the stakes. And the craziest part, there are still unknown elements, unseen clips, and unreleased information that could completely redefine what the public currently understands. Every day that passes without a statement, without clarification, is another day for speculation to run wild. Every deleted post, every private exchange becomes a potential clue, and the story continues to spiral. The next clip, the next post, the next comment, whatever surfaces next, could change everything once more. And if that happens, the internet will erupt again, amplifying the stakes and driving the narrative into even more chaotic territory. This story, which began as a simple leaked video, has now become a high-stakes saga involving family, reputation, control, and public perception. The tension between secrecy and exposure, personal loyalty and public accountability, has created a situation that feels almost impossible to resolve. And while the world waits, observes, and debates, the central figures remain largely silent, leaving the drama to unfold in the public eye. In many ways, this is the defining moment of modern celebrity culture, a story that demonstrates how quickly private moments can become global events, how silence can be just as powerful as statements, and how the internet can amplify personal drama into something far beyond anyone's original expectations. And as it stands now, there is only one certainty: this saga is far from over. Every day brings the possibility of a new twist, a new revelation, or a new leak. Every post, every clip, every cryptic comment adds another layer to an already complex story. For the public, for the fans, and for the media, this is a living drama, unfolding in real time, with no end in sight. So, was this a random leak that spiraled out of control? Or was it a carefully calculated exposure, orchestrated and released at the perfect moment? Did Boosie reveal the truth or cross a line? And what about T and King Harris? Does their silence indicate protection, strategy, fear, or something else entirely? The answers are unclear, the stakes are high, and one thing is undeniable: this story is far from finished. The next move, the next clip, the next comment, whatever comes next, could change everything once again, and when it does, the world will be watching.